I would say that there's, you know, individuals have paths, and these paths cross each other, and I was fortunate to have many mentors in my lifetime. Kamehameha was an institution that took me out of Nanakuli, this small isolated place, and gave me the opportunity to open up myself to the rest of the state and the world. Because, you know, when I went to Kamehameha, I found out that I was such a small fish in such a huge pond. Because at Nanaikapono, I was one of the, you know, really smart ones. But when I went to Kamehameha, oh my God, you know, and they still had you in sections back then. And you knew if you were in the smart section or the slow section. And I definitely was in the slow section, but, you know, it just gave me that much more oomph to work harder, you know. I was actually selling cars at Acura dealership. And again, paths. There was a gentleman who came, who I sold a car to, who asked if I wanted to be a guinea pig in this new program that was happening at HonFed, where they would be taking people who had good math skills, financial background, and teaching them the mortgage business. And I told him, no thank you, I really like what I'm doing. And 2 weeks later, my sales manager pissed me off terribly, and I had his number. I called him up. I said, is that position still open? And that was in 1988. And I was really fortunate to get into this business because, one, it allowed me to help people get into homes. This is people's #1 expense, and you know, the American dream of having a home. And I got to be in that field, and I started learning it, and I started to love it. And every day I would try to be the best as I could, because you rarely found Hawaiians in this field. And it was like I had to work harder than my counterparts to work my way up the ladder and to be successful. I worked with many mainland companies at first, and the mainland companies they were in Hawaii because they knew that they could make money. So at first I really kept my culture and my work business separate, you know, and I always had to change the hats that I wore. And it wasn't until I went to American Savings that I felt comfortable being one. And that was because of, at that point, the CEO, Kani Lau, who pretty much said, how can you separate yourself, you know? And she used to do the same thing when she was in corporate life and nonprofit, and she used to try to do that. And after she explained that to me, that's when I brought everything together. And it's been that way ever since, and I love it that way, you know. In Halau or with people that I work with, it's always striving for excellence. You don't wake up today and say, I'm going to have a mediocre day. You wake up today and say, okay, how can I do my best to help our community? You know, and we teach that in Halau so that our students can then take that mentality to their jobs as well. Our motto that we use in Halau is Uahana ia ponoa pololei, uaha inai akuno ia oe, which is comes from one of our trilogy dances called Kaulilua from Kauai, where our hula genealogy comes from. And it says, everything I say in truth. Everything I do it with responsible, and and I try to make that towards our kids and use that same mentality at work. You know, if you're going to say something, say it. Be truthful. You know, if you're going to do something, do it right.